So Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala intercepts Reynolds' troops with a fleet that he sends under Husam ad-Din al-Lu'lu. And as this happens, this will lead up to the famous Battle of Hattin, which is the gate of Al-Quds, the famous Battle of Al-Hattin. Reynald had taken Nablus, he'd taken Beirut, he'd taken all sorts of other towns around, and they were basically guarding Jerusalem from different fronts. And so the fights between the Muslims and the Crusaders are in full effect. And as he's entrenching, or as the Crusaders are entrenching themselves to guard Jerusalem, Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala takes a different strategy. Just as he patiently unified the Muslim world under a central power, Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala made it a point to capture all the unsuspecting forts. And so he starts to clean up around Jerusalem. So he takes back Haifa, he takes back Beirut, he takes back Nablus, he takes Akka, he takes all of these different places. He captures the forts. And then he patiently surrounds the main army, the main fort of the Crusaders. And in the process, he uses his military genius. So like Khalid bin Walid radiallahu anhu, if you read about Khalid radiallahu anhu, his main tactic was deflection. So he creates these boogeymen, these deflections in different places that take the army by surprise, and then he's able to move in deeper. He poisons wells along the way. He attacks with small groups of archers, these crusader bases. And so imagine when you're trying to sleep at night, but then from far away, a few arrows rain down on you. And so what that does is it creates a paranoia amongst the Crusaders wherever they are, that at any point these archers might rain down upon us. And so they have sleep deprivation now. They have all sorts of paranoia and panic amongst them. They never know as they're in those areas where Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala has commissioned some of his men. So he's using small battalions to demoralize and deprive them of any type of morale that they're building around Jerusalem, that they're building around Palestine. And then comes the Battle of Hattin. Now, subhanAllah, as Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala arrives, as we know the story, subhanAllah, that Salah Uddin is checking the tents of the Muslims to make sure what? Not that they are militarily equipped, to make sure that their tents are lit up at night and that they're praying Qiyamul Layl. And Ibn Shaddad rahimahullah ta'ala, who will talk about his biographer, he mentions that Salah Uddin would not miss a night of tahajjud. That this was a man, no matter how busy, no matter how tired, no matter how engulfed he was in the battle, always found his time to turn on the lights in his tent and to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at night for victory. And this was one of the most crucial ingredients of his success. So Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala is making sure that his soldiers are praying and that his soldiers are ready. Under the king of Jerusalem, Lusignan, you have 1,300 of the most skilled knights that will come out to fight the Muslims. Their headquarters had been Masjid al-Aqsa, the destroyed Masjid al-Aqsa, had been the headquarters of the Knights of the Crusaders. He sends his most skilled knights, and he sends 15,000 troops. Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala amasses an army of about 20,000 people. And they meet for the Battle of Hattin. Just like the Battle of Badr, the use of archery gives the Muslims a strategic advantage. And so as the battle begins, the Muslims rain down so many arrows that the army cannot advance in any way, to the point that they say that even an ant would be hit. Precise with their arrows, striking them and beating them back as they seek to come forth. And they rain arrows throughout the day and the night. As that's happening, Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala is gathering intelligence from within as to what their weaknesses are. He comes to find out that they're short on water. They're short on water. So what does he do? He sees the direction that the wind is blowing, and he sets the grass on fire. And the wind blows the fire onto them, and they don't have water amongst themselves to put that fire out. And so their army is demoralized. On top of that, remember the true cross that the Persians had stolen from the Christians, and that Herakl had hoisted on his back and put back in the sepulchre and was guaranteed safety by Umar al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they came carrying that true cross because they thought that if they carried the true cross, they could not lose. Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala was able to acquire the true cross from them. And this completely psychologically demoralized the Crusaders because they knew that they were done at this point. And so the Muslims would come back to Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala and they would say, An-Nasr, we won. He would say, not yet. And he would say, until you've captured every single battalion and until you've struck at the tent. We've won, we've won, we've won. And he made sure that they had complete victory. And then he came down and he did sajda to shukr, rahimahullah ta'ala. And it was at this point, by the way, that Reynaud de Chatillon, Salah Uddin rahimahullah ta'ala, would kill him with his own hand, as he had promised, as he intercepted him before the fall of Jerusalem. And as I said, I'm skipping a lot because I want to focus on the lessons.